All right, guys. So, today there's been some articles on the Warhammer community page. So we are going to check some of those out. There is one in particular, as if you've read the title, you probably know what we're going to get into. But a lot of articles dropped today. So there's some Sigmar magazine stuff. There's Rough Riders for Imperial Guard. This new battle tome for Caradons. We also have, I will talk about just a little bit. We've got a new captain. Oh, captain, my captain. Because we needed this model for sure. His face looks fucked. We've also got the Imperial Agents data sheet. Now, this is huge, at least for me. I really love Inquisition stuff. I really love Assassins. And I did notice, as I'm sure a lot of people did, that there's not an equivalent of, or there wasn't an equivalent of bringing like one Inquisitor in your Imperial army, bringing like a unit of Acolytes, bringing an Assassin. That was just kind of removed with ARC. So I'm glad that they did some FAQs here. They dropped some data sheets. They gave us a lot of options that we already had. So we're going to go over, not in too much detail because a lot of the stuff did not change, but we're going to go over a couple things that did change. So first of all, the keyword thing, basically, Ordo keyword is the Imperial Inquisition thing. So there's like Hereticus, Malleus, Xenos, and Minoris. These all are pretty much the same. Nothing's changed there. They don't break your army faction if you bring one unit of like Inquisition stuff or one assassin or anything. It doesn't specify here that they cannot be included in a Brood Brothers detachment, so no GSC Inquisition shenanigans, which, duh. So specifies here that all of the assassins can basically deep strike. I don't know if this... I'm pretty sure this still works the same. You can... I want to say you can set this up first turn. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure assassins are able to be set up first turn reinforcements. Maybe not. So they specify here that all infantry units with authority of the Inquisition can get in any Imperium transport. That means if you take an Inquisitor and you've got like a Space Marine Rhino, he can get in there. If you've got like a Jokero Weaponsmith or something and you want to put him in a Land Raider, all that stuff works out. So that's still the same. It's always been that way. Unquestionable Wisdom basically just lets the Inquisitors, and I think it's just Inquisitors actually, pass out their LD, which really doesn't help Imperium too much unless you're playing Guard. I think Guard's actually going to get a lot of interesting tricks from these data sheets. Hopefully not anything too abusive, but then it goes over the Malleus, Hereticus, Xenos, and Minoris traits. I think Minoris is the weirdest one, just on characters rerolling wounds. Xenos, probably the most useful because really there's a lot of Xenos armies. I don't think anybody should go through any of these traits and try to build a list out of like an Inquisitor being good against a specific type of unit. I think this is best used as just like an extra free thing, right? The first thing I want to talk about is actually going to be the Inquisition itself, because I feel like this is where the least changes have taken place. There's not really anything to write home about. We're not super excited. There's not, like, just right here. Okay, we look at the points, right? There are no changes. Okay, so everything that used to work when you played Inquisition is still going to work now. Everything cost-wise costs the same. I think it's a little weird that none of the weapons became free. They're all still 5, 10, or 15 points. All of the named Inquisitors are still the same. A lot of them just leave them at home. Surprised that they kept the Demon Host and the Jokero Weaponsmith around. I think it's just because they want you to be able to use those models. And I have a feeling there's going to be some new Inquisition models soon, because this is like a really weird hodgepodge of stuff, and I think they probably need to figure out what they're doing with it. But for now, this is cool. So I would say that most of the Inquisition stuff is not like I'm not gonna say not worth taking, but it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking at this competitively, for the most part, there's not anything that shines, honestly. Kyria Draxus, the special smite thing is cool. And the fight last is cool. She is 85 points. I don't know. If you need fight last and you want a strength 6 power fist and you have 85 points, sure. Kotiez is pretty bad. Again, it's strength 6 hammer, and he does what one of the assassins does, but worse. So basically, when your enemy uses a stratagem, he can make them spend an extra CP. But if they choose not to, they just keep the CP that they were going to spend. So, like, if it's a 1 CP stratagem, like they want to do command reroll, right? It's 1 CP. And then you're like, oh, spend 2 or it won't happen. They just get the 1 refunded if they don't do it. So, kind of really stupid. Greyfax is just, like, got some kind of anti-psyker stuff, some ignores lookouts or stuff. Nothing crazy, again. And Greyfax is 90 points. So, yeah, probably not bringing her. Karamazov's cool. I've always liked his model. I think that he's like the coolest looking out of all these Inquisitors. But on a competitive level, he gets like a free Deny the Witch. He has a crazy multi-melta. He is only 125 points, and he is essentially like a slightly weaker Dreadnought with a worse save. There's probably a way to work him in. I don't see it, but I don't know. He's cool. He's like the czar of the Inquisition. And then you've got your base Inquisitor. So I think that the base Inquisitor is probably the best option as far as all these HQs go. I don't think Eisenhorn does much. I think that the base Inquisitor is the coolest just because you can customize it. There's all these options, and this is just war gear. There's tons of psychic powers. There is a use for an Inquisitor, especially when the base cost is only 60 points. Now we get into some of the units. I think these are all kind of mid/bad. Jokero, Weaponsmith, 20 points. Essentially, you're either getting a, what is it called, Storm Strike missile, or like a double Shuriken cannon. It's 20 points, T3, 3 wounds, and a 5-up invul. It's not like awful, but I'm fairly certain that the unit of Jokero is, it's just one model. So in the rules for Arcs of Omen, and I think for Nephilim as well, when you want to include Inquisition in your Imperium army, you're allowed 1 unit. So if your 1 unit is a Jokero, you get 1 model. That's it. Like, there's no add-ons, and I think that's probably the most limiting part and sort of the worst part. If you could bring a unit like 3 of these, I could see something there, because you get like reroll, hit rolls, and wound rolls, like kind of randomly from him. But I just don't see this being used ever. If you have 20 points to spare and you already own the model, like, sure, but just weird, just a weird unit. Acolytes are cool because they're customizable. They start at 10 points though, and they're essentially like a guardsman with like an extra attack. So kind of expensive. And they gain the character keyword if you only bring 1. You're probably not bringing 1 though, because you can bring up to 6. So that's 60 points for those guys, and they're essentially, they can just camp somewhere. So if you don't have servitors, but you have like guardsmen, and you want like a filler unit to hold backfield objectives, Acolytes might be good. There's a lot of different weapons you can give them. I feel like most of them are not worth it because a lot of them like double the cost of the model. Stormbolters might be it because 5 points is like fine, but then you're spending 15 points on a guardsman with a Stormbolter. So again, not the greatest. Demon hosts are cool, but also random, and you can only bring 1, so probably not the best. Now, we're going to get into my favorite part of this update, which, if you haven't guessed by now, because I already skipped over it, is the Assassins. So I think this is by far the best part of the update. And the beginning of that, or the beginning of the reasoning for that, is that they are all now 90 points. They were overcosted before. So they're all the Assassins are T4, 5 wounds, and they have a 4-up invuln. That's just base. The Calidus in particular has the polymorphine ability, so she gets to be set up D6 plus 3 inches away from the closest enemy unit, which is cool because if you roll a 1, she could be 4 inches away, and there's no limit on. It doesn't say like she can't charge out of it. So if you can roll low, I mean, she could very easily get a charge out of Deep Strike. You can also shoot and charge when she falls back. She's got hit and run. She's an independent operative, so she can't have relics or warlord traits, but you wouldn't want them anyways. She also has Reign of Confusion, so she does that ability that we talked about with Kotiez. It's on a 4-up though, and when the CP is used, it's not refunded. So let's say you want to use CP reroll stratagem. Your opponent has a Calidus Assassin, and it's like, okay, on a 4-up, you're going to have to double that cost. Rolls the 4, double the cost of the CP reroll stratagem. You're like, I don't want to spend 2 CP on it. Okay, well, the 1 CP you already were going to spend is lost. That's gone. I think this ability is really good, really clutch, and honestly could win you games. There's a lot of times where stratagems come in way, way, way too clutch for your opponent. This is a really good way to mitigate that, even though it's only a 50% chance. She still hits like a truck on her own. She can ignore invulns. She's got 5 attacks. She's very good against like, I would say like elite units that aren't too tough, or if she is going up against a tough target, she can always wound on 3s if she wants. I also like the leadership check on 3d6 and the d3 mortals. She just has a lot of tools, a lot of cool combat tools. I think she's fun. I'm sure there's a combo here that I'm not mentioning, but I love the model and I like the rules a lot. They haven't really changed that much, but the fact that the points have changed so much is really, really the key there. Now, the Calexis Assassin, next up, also T4, 5 wounds, 4-up invuln. Calexis only has 4 attacks, and the weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, is insane. So the Calexis's thing is like anti-psyker. So there's like different deny and mortal wound shenanigans. There's ignoring saving throws and demonic saves, but not ignoring invulns from the life drain, which is a little weird. There's also some ignoring Lookout Sir stuff if it's a character that's a psyker. And the Calexis makes anything targeting it weapon skill ballistic skill 6. I think that's awesome. Super survivable. The output is not crazy unless there's a psyker or a demon around. So this is really for that list that does not have a psyker, doesn't have a librarian, doesn't have anything like that, wants some anti-psyker, and still wants to be able to take a Bore the Witch against psychic armies, basically. So I think the Calexis has a really nice spot. Again, 90 points. You really can't beat that. It's like a distraction unit. It's super hard to hit, which makes it hard to kill. So I like the Calexis a lot in a lot of non-psychic heavy factions, for sure. Then we have the Eversor Assassin. The Eversor, kind of just a killy melee guy. So again, T4, 6 wounds, 4-up invuln, 6 attacks on this guy. He basically explodes, which is really funny. He has a bio meltdown. He can roll 3d6 for charging instead of 2d6. He gets +2 to his attacks characteristics on the charge or on heroic intervention, meaning he will get 8 attacks first round of combat most of the time. He's got a pistol that rerolls wound rolls against infantry. It's just strength 4, AP 1, but still pretty cool because you can shoot it in combat because it's a pistol. The Neuro Gauntlet's pretty cool because he rerolls all wounds with that as well. So he's strength 5, AP 1 if he charges 8 attacks, rerolling all wounds, or you can hit him with a power sword, not reroll the wounds, but get that AP 3 off depending on if it's a tougher target. He also has Melt-A-Bomb, so he's good against vehicles too. And then he's got essentially like a shooting attack on fallback. So if someone falls back from him, he can shoot them. I think he's cool. He's not as cool, I don't think, as the Calidus or the Calexis, but I think he's just sick. He's got a lot of attacks, and he'll chew through infantry for sure. I don't know that he fits in a lot of competitive lists because I think anything lacking close combat probably doesn't want it in the first place. So I don't know how takeable the Eversor is. Next up, we've got the Vindicare Assassin. Again, T4, 5 wounds, 4-up invuln. We've got always hit on a 2+ with these weapons. If he didn't move, so kind of crazy, because there's no way to mitigate that even with dense. And if you've got 72-inch range, you're probably going to shoot through some dense cover at some point. But he ignores invulns, always wounds infantry on a 2-up. It's strength 5, AP 3, D3 damage. The D3 kind of sucks because it's pretty variable there, but he ignores Lookout Sir, so hopefully you can just get a shot through, pop a 2 or a 3 at a couple turns, and like kill a character. He's also got Deadshot, so unmodified wound rolls of a 6 for the pistol or the rifle are damage D6. So if you can get that 6 to wound, you can kill a character in one shot, which I think is kind of the point. And then he's got Spy Mask, so when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon carried by this model, the target does not receive benefits of light cover. I think that's super big. 3 AP is always hitting, especially now that Arbor Contempt's gone. You'll always get that -3. And then he is -1 to hit from range. Unless he's in a terrain feature, then he's -2 to hit from range. So pretty hard to nail down, especially if he's got some good cover. He's also got Headshot. So after resolving his attacks with the pistol or the rifle, a model in an enemy unit, if they lost any wounds as a result of that attack, but was not destroyed, on a 3+, the model takes a mortal wound. And if the model's not destroyed, roll another D6. On a 4+, they'll take a mortal, and it increases every time until you've reached 7 or until the model's dead. So essentially, you get a shot through, you have a really good chance at dealing like 2 more wounds. So he's very killy. He's good at getting those characters out. I think that this could be good in a lot of different Imperial builds. I think that the Vindicare is one of the strongest assassins, especially for 90 points. I like the blind grenades too, the -1 to hit rolls. I think the Vindicare is really good. I also really like the Calidus. I think those are the 2 most generalist, and then the Calexis is great for anyone who doesn't have Psychers and wants some anti-Psyker stuff. So those are my favorites. I do want to talk about one more tiny thing, which I thought was kind of bad. So I was at LVO this year, and they showed off some of the Arbites and the Dark Eldar stuff, and I think it's really weird that some of these units are in here. They might have already been, and I just didn't notice, but I believe Mike did the presentation at LVO, and Mike from Games Workshop, he said something about none of these Imperial kill teams getting rules or having rules for 40k specifically. I don't know if these are only intended to be used in boarding action, but clearly they have 40k rules for the Navy Breachers, the Rogue Traders, and Voidsmen at Arms. I know these aren't RBDs, but it's still super weird that he said that. I mean, maybe these were already out. Maybe he wasn't thinking about these. I could be completely wrong. I might be an idiot. But yeah, these are also like stupid and kind of bad. And they essentially just have like rules bloat, which a lot of the kill team stuff does when it gets pushed over to 40k. Just too many rules that don't have any like combo or like any real reason to be brought. None of this stuff is like OBSEC. None of this stuff fills a hole that an Imperial army doesn't already have. Like, I just think that these are a waste. I'm glad the rules are free for this. Good on Games Workshop for doing that. I'm glad we have some Imperial rules. I really, really like the Assassins. I'm excited to see what you guys do with them. I'm probably going to run one. Just see how it goes. But I just wanted to go over that. That was like the big news today. I'm super excited about it. Not even just on a competitive level, but on a lore level, on a hobby level. I love my Inquisitors. I love my Assassins. I hope you do too. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, liquefy the comment section, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let me know if you loved it, if you hated it, if you think I'm great, if you think I'm ugly and terrible. And also request what you want to see in the next video. Please, please, please send money, send help. Kyle has me trapped in his basement and won't let me out until I make more 40k videos. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.